The accuser in Michael Jackson's child molestation trial now admits that he told the dean of his school that nothing untoward ever happened. So how'd the jury react to that? With us now from the courthouse in Santa Maria is KFI radio reporter Laura Engel, who was inside the courtroom, as she is each day, for today's testimony. Did that come off as a blockbuster or what?
I think it was a surprise to many here in the courtroom, and the jurors were taking a lot of notes today. Hard to say what their reaction was, but I can tell you they were paying very close attention, and every time I've looked over at the jury box today, their heads are down, they're taking notes. I even saw one juror run out of ink and motioned to the bailiff that he needed another pen, and the deputy ran over and got him another pen. So lots of note taking, and indeed very surprising to hear that. This information apparently coming to everybody's attention this weekend. This dean of the school interviewed by or talked to by the defense about the child's revelation to him at that time, and also the DA asked the child just last night about what exactly happened in this interview at school after the child leaves Neverland for the last time, asking him, did you say this to your dean? He said, I don't really remember. He was a little shaky on it today on the witness stand. Anything else of importance coming out of there? Especially, was there any discussion of the same child's or adolescent's, I guess, allegations from last week that he was in fact molested twice by Michael Jackson? He was asked about that directly from Michael Jackson's attorney, Tom Mesereau, and when he was asked that, he did say, yes, he had been touched inappropriately by Michael Jackson. He sort of said it under his breath and said a very slow yes when he said it on the witness stand. Again, uncomfortable moments, of course, for all. Michael Jackson sitting at the defense table, nodding a couple of times while he's talking and whispering to his attorneys. He seems to be back to his old self. Of course, last week we had the pajama episode here at the courthouse, but today Michael Jackson returning, looking back to his old fancy self, fiddling with the candy jar in the courtroom today, and taking notes and talking with his attorney. No pajamas today. I guess you can't have that much excitement every day. Laura, thank you very much. Here with more now, the former prosecutor, Sam Goldberg in Chicago, and the criminal defense attorney, Courtney Anderson. She's in Austin, Texas. Courtney, let's start with you, I guess. What do you make of this statement that came in court today that he supposedly said to his dean?
Well, the saga continues. Here we are in a case of he said, and all that the defense can do is try to show that this credibility of the accuser is at issue. And if he really did tell the dean that nothing happened, of course it begs the question, why?
Of course, I guess you can make the case on the other side that he would say that because kids are scared when weird things happen. I guess that's where they'll go, or what do you think?
Well,
go ahead, Courtney. Go ahead.
Well, certainly I think that when we're looking at the situation, we do have someone who's an adolescent, and it was a very traumatic situation. Whether the allegations are true or not, the things that he's talking about are very traumatic. When you look at the timeline, and when Mesereau is asking him, well, why did you say 2 events happened here, and you told your psychologist or another lawyer 3 events happened here. So it is something that is understandable that he might get mixed up, but if you would emphatically deny that anything happened and then turn around later and make these accusations in graphic detail, something's amiss.
Okay, here's the context for that now. The Martin Bashir documentary, in which viewers saw Michael Jackson holding the hands of the alleged accuser, had already aired. And as the story goes, the boy said to the dean of the school, asked him, look, did anything bad happen? And after some hemming and hawing, Sam Goldberg, he reportedly told that dean no. How do you fend that off as a prosecution team?
Well, if I'm the prosecutor, first of all, at that point in time, according to everybody, nothing did happen at the time that the documentary was done. If the question came at the time that he is now saying that he was indeed molested, he is an adolescent, it's embarrassing, he didn't want to admit to being molested at that time. That's how you would explain it as the prosecutor. I think you still have a problem because nobody has told the same story twice the same on the prosecution witness list.
Courtney, what do you do now? Do you need to tear this witness down anymore? Or as a defense attorney, let's say in this case for Michael Jackson, do you run the risk that the jury sees you as bullying a little boy around?
That risk is always going to be there in the courtroom, and that's something the defense attorney has made efforts from the very opening of questioning the jury in what they call voir dire to establish a relationship with the jurors, that he's strong, he's zealous, he is defending Mr. Jackson, but that he's not bullying people. And so I agree that he's got to walk that line very clearly, but he has got to make sure the jury understands all all that we have are these witnesses. We've got the accuser, his brother, and his sister, certainly the accuser and his brother, saying these specific sexual acts occurred. So we've got to question them thoroughly in a way that I agree doesn't send a message that we're bullying or intimidating a young adolescent.
And at the same time, Sam, I guess you have to, as the prosecution, you have to do something about these allegations that the mom has trained her kids to be professional witnesses and that they've lied in cases before.
Well, it's a real problem, and I don't know why the mother hasn't been put on the stand yet. You know, all along I've been kind of befuddled by the order in which the prosecutor is putting on testimony, particularly since he doesn't seem to know that certain testimony is going to be coming in, which just happened again. But the fact is he's got to come up with some explanation for it, and he's actually opening up the door for the defense to argue, hey, you know what, on the summation, ladies and gentlemen, maybe the reason why the prosecutor didn't bring it out is the prosecutor didn't know it because the kids were telling him different stories.
Sam Goldberg, Courtney Anderson, thank you both very much. Coming up from Studio B, just a few